All right, and welcome into another episode of the Do Champions Postgame. I am your host this week, Matt Diegert, and I am actually joined this week by the Coast to Coast host that goes every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Whittle2K. You can find him there on Twitter, and usually you'll see him in spaces, giving some, dropping some serious knowledge about the Bills. Whittle, how are you after this big win tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm extremely happy because you know all off season, a lot of things that that were said about the Buffalo Bills. The team is getting on the field and they're proving them wrong, man. I mean, this was a great win. You go on the road, you beat a team that well, I don't think Seattle's one of the. I don't think Seattle's an elite team. It's still a very good team. They still have a ton of. Still have a very good coach. They still have a ton of talent on both sides of the football. Obviously, this game they were without DK Metcalf, and even Tariq Woolen was a little, was coming off of an injury. They're missing some guys on the offensive line, but overall, though, still a very very talented team. They were ahead of the AFC, NFC West prior to this game. So, yeah, man, like big win for the Buffalo Bills. This was a very, very big road win.
Yeah, I mean it's very tough to go into Seattle and typically get a win out of there. But the way that I look at the Seattle Seahawks this year are very much paper tigerish, if that makes sense to you. Like they're very good on paper, but they once you get them on the field, they don't win the big games yet because they're still even though their coach is a first year coach. He's a good coach, but again, he's a first year coach. He hasn't seen a lot of these things. He hasn't played, the Josh Allen. He hasn't gone against like the Bills type that they run. He hasn't gone against the Joe Brady offense. So there's a lot of things that they did today that kind of got under their skin. I mean, you saw them fighting with each other. Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean the competitive nature of being an athlete, man. I mean, and at that highest level, when you have an opportunity to kind of get the upper hand on the team, you give one of your guys makes really a childish mistake and just gave the Bills a first down at an extra 15 yards was ridiculous, man. It was ridiculous. So I understand the veteran getting after the young guy, but and Derek Hall, he's a heck of a player. Um, pass rusher, edge guy at Auburn. They took in the second round, I think last year. Um, he's a really good player, man, and he's got to be better than that. This is the
Mm-hmm.
NFL. You got to be better than
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you that you gotta stay away from the quarterback's head on all, and whether that's a Buffalo Bill, whether that's a Seahawk, whether that's a Kansas City Chief, whether that's a Las Vegas Raider, whatever. You got to stay away from the quarterback's head no matter what when you're making a tackle, and that's something that I'm sure that they were jawing back and forth about that. He's just trying to go make a tackle, and unfortunately, he got up in Josh's head, and Josh also does know how to embellish it a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that. I wouldn't call it a full flop, but he does know how to embellish that a little bit. We talked to you on Friday night about on Third Manageable when you called in about your peak in Pitt. Did they end up coming out for you the way that you thought they would be?
I don't remember. I did say that I needed the defensive line to play
Mm-hmm.
very well, and I think that they did. We definitely had a very good game against the run. I think they ran for like 32 yards or something like that. So kudos definitely to the defensive line, especially Ed Oliver was. Think I'm not exactly sure. I think Ed Oliver had a bunch of run stops and a few. Overall, he had a good game. AJ Epinesa, I mean, it just seemed like they were getting after Gino. Gino did a good job of avoiding guys, but they did a very, very good job of getting after him. And the linebackers played better than I expected. I expected Bale Inspector to not be good. He was really good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think overall the defense just they really, really played well. And offensively, um, The tackles. I needed the tackles to play well. I wanted the tackles to do a good job of kind of keeping Josh upright. I think they did an excellent job of that. Outside of a couple of holding calls and false starts and different things like that, we had a ton of penalties. But Seattle's a very, very loud place to play. But
Hmm.
overall, I think everything we needed to go right this game went right. Josh did have an interception. We knew it was going to happen at some point, but I think he did a very good job of taking care of the football,
Hmm.
um, even with that interception. And he had the fumble as well. The ball just kind of slipped out of his hands. Yeah, I thought he did a good job of not putting the ball in harm's way too much.
Hmm.
Cooper slipped. That's why the interception happened. But other than that, man, I mean, man, it was a heck of a game. Like everybody just kind of played well. I was kind of surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you talking a little bit about it in your space that you were running before we hopped on the post game, and what do you think about the emergence of Keon Coleman? And I'll say it right now, like I wanted Xavier Leggett. I was wrong about his run blocking when he put him into the bench. I think I jumped off my couch and was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" Like I'm ready
Yeah,
to help you block. But like I knew coming in, his yards per run route run and all this other stuff. He is good at that part of the game. I was more worried about the other things that the Bills wanted to do as far as using him in the run game. After today, I'm sold. Right pick, wrong pick, whatever. He's going to be a good NFL player. What do you feel about the emergence of Keon Coleman in multiple different assets because I was watching the one play where he had to go up and make the catch. I was watching him pre-snap. He called out the blitzer and had Josh audible to him. And literally immediately, Josh didn't look anywhere else but Keon Coleman and threw the ball in a place only he could go get it. How do you feel about those type of things happening right now with the Bills?
none of this stuff surprises me at all. Keon Coleman, for as goofy as he acted in the offseason with the coat and the cookies and the embedded video and all of that stuff, where he was just kind of all over the place at the facility. He is what we would call a gym rat,
Mm-hmm.
like in basketball. He's a gym rat.
Yeah.
He's a film junkie. The guy he eats, sleeps, breathes football. Like he loves the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, None of this is surprising to me, man. Like I watched him at Florida State in September of last year, and I said it in like October. I'm like, bro, the Buffalo Bills need to get this kid Keon Coleman, and we actually did get him, and we got him in the second round, which I thought that was a little bit later than what he was actually going to go. Even with the slow 40 time, I still felt like he should have been a first round pick, and he could have been. The Bills could have took him, but they did. Bean did a great job of not just
Mm-hmm.
getting him, but um, going back a few picks and picking up some extra draft capital, and ended up getting Dwayne Carter, who's out right now for at least 4 weeks with a
Mm-hmm.
wrist injury. But none of this is surprising to me at all. Keon Coleman with the basketball background. Um, if you watched him play basketball, you can tell you would know what type of football player he's going to be. Physical, athletic, does all the little things. He's a guy that's going to find a man and he's going to box out on every rebound. He's going up with two hands to get the basketball. Um, yeah, he's a solid, fundamentally
Mm-hmm.
sound player. Is he perfect? No. Does he need to fine tune some of the some parts of his game? Absolutely. He needs to be better with time with his timing when he's going up for a catch. He needs to time his
Mm-hmm.
jumps a little bit better. Obviously, him and Josh have to work on their chemistry a little bit more. Even though I think it's getting there. And he also has to refine his route running. But the run blocking, the physicality, the competitiveness that he has, that is not a surprise to me. I saw this in Florida State. Like you can go back and watch him when he was at Michigan State and you could tell what type of player he was going to be. So none of this is surprising to me. I think, sometimes you look at the stats and the stats can tell you a story, but you kind of have to mix it. You have to watch some of these guys play,
Hmm.
and I don't care what the numbers say about what type of player he was going to be. I knew this kid was going to be a stud. I think we have a star. Like I think he's going to be a star.
Hmm. No, I definitely agree with you. And like I said, I knew on the field stuff. I wasn't worried about him going up and making catches like he made today. The rebounding catches. I was more worried about the run blocking and stuff like that. But after seeing what he did a few times today, no worries whatsoever. I'm glad he's on the Bills. I'm glad that they drafted him. I'm glad I'm not the one in the GM room. So, but with that being said, I mean, what else did you see from an offensive standpoint that you liked? Because there was a lot to like today. Like the offensive line specifically, you had, like you said, the tackles, they prevented Josh from getting sacked almost all day. The one thing I didn't like is, and I hate complaining about officials, but the absolute atrocious calls from them on a lot of the holding calls. The one blindside block that Ray Davis hit him to the side, it reminded me of the Cody Ford thing back in Houston, where it was completely from the side. They're throwing a flag for it. Like
So
that
that
official.
cost us that playoff game. That cost us that game.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the NFL apologized to the Buffalo Bills. Like it's absolutely crazy that the officiating has not gotten better. I mean, it's to the point now where it's like you need to figure out a system for it to be full-time officials, because at this point they need to have that be their only job. They need to be able to have full 20/20 vision. They need to be able to, it should be a requirement for context, and they need to be able to see everything on the field. They need to use the sky judge better. They need to do all this stuff. And it's just, there's so much that they could be taken advantage of. I don't think the NFL is rigged, but sometimes it feels that way. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at by saying that?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm not like for me, full time officials. I don't know if that's going to help. Like I think even if you have full time officials, those guys are still going to make mistakes. I mean, human. It's human error. These guys are human. I expect that. What I don't like though, what I don't like and I don't understand is the one thing that they're consistent with is making mistakes and making bad calls. Like, and I don't think, and it doesn't seem to be getting a lot better. Like, you have your crews. I think you have your crews where some referee crews they kind of just let the game dictate itself and they step in when they need to. And there are other officials like today where it did seem very one sided. Like, yeah, I understand that. Um, these guys are not running the football well. But I also understand that, you know, Geno Smith is getting out of a lot of trouble, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand how we're not getting held or held up on that defensive line to where we can't get to the quarterback. I just thought that some of the holding calls I think were a little they were a little I think they were a little excessive. I think we got hit with a few, maybe one or two
Mm-hmm.
too many. But overall, I mean, you know, whatever. It
It
was
didn't. It
31-10.
didn't change.
I'll take
Yeah, it didn't change the outcome of the game. But you would have hated for it to
it.
be like a 31-27 game, or the Bills are driving 27-24, and something like that. That like a bogus penalty causes them. But neither here. It's neither here nor there. It was 31-10. The Bills won. We're all good. What else did you enjoy watching about this game? What else did you see specifically that you noticed that stuck out to you today?
James Cook stood out to me today. I thought that I thought James Cook he's always a patient runner. Sometimes I think he settles for the cutback way too soon, um, or tries to bounce it outside way too soon. I think this game, this was the first time that I can remember that I think James Cook was. I don't want to say perfect, but he was close. Like I thought he was close to perfect today. I mean, I have literally no complaints about James Cook today. Um, and another thing, I thought Josh looked extremely comfortable in the offense today. Um, for whatever reason, he just he looked really he looked really comfortable with taking what was available underneath, and when the opportunity presented itself, he took his shots downfield. I thought he ran when he needed to run. He didn't try to do too much. He was comfortable with living to the, letting the play go and getting to the next play without putting himself in harm's way. I really enjoyed watching Josh Allen play football today. Like
Yeah.
he's always good. He's always no, I'm not gonna say he's always good. It's always fun to watch. But I thought today was a just a clinic on how to run this Joe Brady offense from
Yeah.
Josh Allen. I thought he did a very good job today.
Well, you heard Tom Brady talking about it all day, is like how much he is impressed with how much he's kind of matured within the position, where he rolled out one time down by the goal line. I think he was on the like a first down, the one where he kind of tossed it, chucked it with his right hand out of bounds.
Right.
Tom Brady even goes, Josh Allen before would have tried to come backwards and go the other way, go forward, go backward, go every which way to try and make a play happen, when he did the right thing and just trucked it out of bounds and moved on to the next down, and lived to fight another down. So, and they were talking about that all day long. And kind of to your point about Josh Allen, yes, you're not wrong that he's not always good, but I would say it's more of a frustration piece with him when he's not, because he's always within the game. He's always good. He's always playing well within the game, but then he has these frustrating moments in the game where it's like, this is causing the game to, and you have not seen any of that this year, really. Like last week against the Titans, I don't really consider a lot of that his fault, because it comes down to it, and it's he's running the plays that were called. They ran 9 plays in the first quarter. They were on their script. They weren't working, and you want them to kind of see getting away from that. Today they came in with a plan, and they went for it, right? So how do you see them moving forward to keep everything coming out on fire like they did today, coming out on a different level, whereas you don't see them failing? How do you think that they keep that going from here on out?
You stay aggressive. I think you stay aggressive. I think that they were unafraid to push the ball downfield early in the game, and I think throughout this season so far they've been reluctant to do that. I thought we took some shots early against Miami, but it's Miami, so I mean, whatever. We never fear them. But I
Right.
think against most teams, we've been we've been reluctant to take shots downfield early in the game, and I think that that's kind of detrimental to what Josh wants to do. I think because of who Josh is and how he plays the game, you got to give him those opportunities down the field early and often, and let him feel like he's able to utilize the entire field. I think that way you keep him engaged. I think that way you also keep the defense on their toes as well, with the threat that, hey, if you continue to creep up like this, we may hit you with something deep, and you're not going to be able to get back there to stop it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think being aggressive, I think going out early and taking your shots, keeping the defense off balance, that all of that will I think will get the best results out of this Buffalo Bills offense, because we have the horses to do it now. I mean, when you add Amari Cooper to this offense, I mean, I think you have
Yeah.
the horses. You got a slot receiver who, I mean, I think he has one drop all season long. You've got one of the up and coming tight ends in Kincaid. You've got a pair of running backs who they may rival any other running back duo in the league.
Mhm.
Like I think the world of those two guys back there, And then you have Josh Allen and a guy like Cooper and Cooper and
Coleman.
Keon Coleman on the outside. I mean, like this offense is loaded. It's loaded. And
Well,
when you have that type of weapon, when you have those selections of that selection of weapons, man, I mean, why not use them? You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Why not? Why hinder your quarterback? Why hinder your
Well,
guys? Let
and
them go
it's
out there
nice.
and make plays wherever they are.
It's nice too because a lot of those pieces, your Shakira, your Coleman, your Cooper, you can move them at any wide receiver position on the field, and then you still have Kincaid or Knox or anybody. So there's a lot that they can do. And real quick to touch on the offense, what do you think about the report? And then we'll get back to what happened with the game. But what do you think about the report that came out on Saturday, from Diana Rossini about the Bills still being in the Cooper Cup sweepstakes?
I hope it's a big fat lie. I'm sorry. Cooper Cup's going to be expensive. Um, I know we can't usually we usually don't or we can't roster all of the guys that we draft, but Cooper's going to cost you a second or a third round pick, maybe multiple fourths or something. I mean, he's going to cost a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no guarantee that he's going to be healthy. Um, he's also 31. Where are you going to put him? Because wherever you put him, he's going to take snaps away from either Shakir or
Yep.
Keon, and you don't want
Yep.
either one of those guys to not get snaps on the field. And on top of that, his contract for the rest of his deal, it's disgusting. So no,
Yeah.
yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no, I'm of the same mind. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. But yeah, to get back to the game, I mean, we saw the defense. We'll move to the defensive side of the ball now. We saw the defense specifically. AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, and then a little bit of I'm drawing a bit. Javon Solomon getting that sack at the end of the game on Geno Smith. And then Casey Toohill causing the interception where Austin Johnson, was able to pick that off and on that screen. So how do you feel like? I know we touched on it a little bit because that was your peak, and they had to be the peak. How well do you think that because Greg Rousseau is playing on another level right now, and with Von Miller coming back next week, how much of how much more of a boost do you think he's going to get from playing opposite Von Miller? Do you think it's going to make any bit of difference? Do you think you're going to see any difference of anything against Miami?
I actually think the relationship's going to work the opposite way. I think we're at the point now where Von Miller's not going to see the double team. I think the double team's going to go to Rousseau. He's done so well with, and to be fair, you know, Mike Jarrell, 6th round pick, Division II school. He's a rookie. He's not, like I mean that's a light matchup for Rousseau, but I think Rousseau's played well all season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's played well all season. He could have been better against the Ravens. He could have been better against the Texans, but I think he's played well. I think Von's going to
Mm-hmm.
come back. Um, Von's production is based on. I mean, Von's money this year is based on production. So Von's going to see some one-on-ones, and Von's going to try to make
Yeah.
up for these 4 games that he missed. I think
Right.
Von's going to come back, and that's a big boost for this pass
Mm-hmm.
rush is to
It's
get Von Miller
it
back.
it's almost like you're trading for Von Miller, right? Because he had the 4 weeks off, and we really didn't see him get to do the full ramp up. Yes, the first couple of games, but now you're going to have week 9, week 10, week 11, Von Miller, and then we get to hit a bye. So you're going to have
Right.
Von Miller refreshed for the entire season, basically. So it almost excites me because it's like these guys are going to be able to play together, and you're getting a Hall of Fame linebacker, Hall of Fame defensive end in Von Miller back, and that's going to also be able to help things because he's going to pull away some of that that coverage, and they're not going to know who to double team. They're not going to know who's going to have to block. And then once we get Milano back and Terrell Bernard back and everything, that defense is going to be, back to basically the level of what it was. And to be able to play guys like Spector now and Dorian Williams now, and so they can bring them in during different schemes, or give Matt Milano a blow, and you're not going to give, or you're not going to take away too much of the you're not going to drop down too much, right? So I think that's a major thing right now with the defense is they're all learning what's kind of going on, what they're gonna have to do, their roles or that are going to be in the defense. And what do you think is going to happen as far as what you saw today, and then moving on for the rest of the season?
Well, so I mean, like I said before, Seattle's a good team. They're not an elite team. This is a team that this is a team that the Bills are better than. This is a team that when you're the Buffalo Bills and you say we're still in our Super Bowl window, we still want to compete with the elite level teams, you have to beat a team like Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next week we have the Miami Dolphins. You have to go in there and spank the Dolphins. The week after that we have the Colts. You gotta go to Indianapolis and you gotta beat the Colts as well. Like those are games that you have to win. And then you lock up with teams like the Chiefs and the 49ers and the Lions, and you see where the chips fall because those are the elite level teams. What I take from this win today, um, defensively, is we should not need elite talent in order to step up defensively against these teams. And we didn't have elite talent out there today, or outside the offensive, outside of the corners and the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we still played very, very well. I thought Damar Hamlin was excellent in his run fits. I thought he tackled well. Taylor Rapp was solid in coverage, taking away things down the field, not giving a ton of windows to Geno Smith to take shots, to Lockett or anybody else downfield. And the defensive line was good. I think this getting Vaughn back is going to be a nice boost. When you get, like you said, when you get Milano, when you get Terrell Bernard back, you're talking about now an elite level defense. You have elite talent on every level now. If you want you get those guys back, that's a defense that can win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
So let me ask you this, and I know because it's a special one to my heart, and I brought up Cooper Kupp, but we also saw the report about Trey White. Would you trade like a 7th for him?
Me personally, I would. I personally would, but I don't think that they're going to get a 7th for Trey White. Like he's been bad. He's been
no,
really
I know
bad.
they're talking about buying him out, but you kind of give him that 7th to kind of if you really want him back, you kind of bring him in. But I more see they're going to buy him out, and I think that he may end up on the Bills practice squad.
That's like for me, that's a perfect scenario. You get him back, and I think you protect yourself against the Rasul Douglas negotiations in the offseason, if they want to negotiate with him at all. I think when Trey White has when he's a year removed from his injury, I think he's going to play well again. He played great last year before he got hurt. I think the first 4 games, he played excellent football. He was great in coverage, and then he got hurt again. So, if he comes back and we give him the rest of this year on the practice squad, let him work out with the trainers and things like that in the offseason, and comes back next year, give him a team friendly deal, but respectful as well. I'm not saying that you got to pay him $8 or $9 million, but league minimum is not. I think the league minimum would be a little disrespectful. For $3-4 million deal, something like that, just to see where he's at for a year. And who knows? I mean, if he's good, then you have an elite level corner or maybe he's not at an elite level anymore, but you have a very good corner for a
Mhm.
cheap price, and that protects you against, you know, getting held up by Russell Douglas or Kyer Elam, because I don't think they're going to take his 50-year option. So you protect yourself. If Trey White can come
Right.
back and be good opposite of Bernard of Benford, then you know,
Yeah.
if Elam and Douglas want to play hardball, all right, have fun,
Yeah.
guys.
Right. No, I'm in complete agreement with you because I think that not only protects you this year against any like injuries or anything, because if they bought him out and put him on the practice squad, it gives him time to work with the trainers,
Yep.
work with the guys in Buffalo, work with the guys that actually know him here, that what he's gone through, what he's and get him back to where he potentially has been or could be in the future. But if they don't, they don't. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to bring that up because we talked about Cooper Kupp on offense and then on defense, but kind of going from there. Um, I want to ask you real quickly for this game specifically against the Seahawks. What were your peak and pits for the entire game?
Um, man, Pete definitely Josh Allen. Like the Josh Allen was, I think he was a peak today. I could easily give this to Keon Coleman because I thought he had a great game as well. Um, some of those catches he made were, I mean, it's peak Keon Coleman stuff, but then
Mm-hmm.
he also had a drop on the side on the sideline that he probably should have came down with. But I just thought Josh Allen just I thought he played or he conducted that Joe Brady offense perfect today. Like I mean I cannot stress enough how good he was when he took shots downfield. It was the right time when he pulled it down and ran with it. It was the right time to do it. I just thought he had a great performance at the quarterback position this game. And then on the other side, um, man, you know what? Rasul Douglas, like he was excellent in coverage. He had a couple of run stuffs early where he got down, he was playing on the line a bit, and he came in immediately and stuffed the run, made a few plays. There was another play where Gino wanted to throw a quick wide receiver screen,
Yep.
and Rasul read it immediately. He took it away, and Gino had to pull the ball down. We end up getting like a 5-yard penalty or something like that, which ended up leading to them having a punt a few plays later. So, and we haven't, we, and that's big because the Bills haven't defended the screen very well. Um, Ever under McDermott. So, that was a big play. So I got to give it to Russell. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, let me ask you a question on that specific play because I heard a lot about it. I have my own feelings about it. I don't think I would have taken the penalty. I don't think I would have taken the penalty. I think it would have declined. What would you have done in that situation? What do you think McDermott was thinking in that situation?
I mean, when you're backed up like that, I'm always going to take. I'm always going to take the penalty. I'm always going to take the yards. I always want to take the yards because I want to push you back as far as possible. I think the closer you get to the goal line, when the closer you push a offense back against their own goal line, anything can happen, man. I mean, you get a holding penalty while the quarterback's in the tackle box and he's in the end zone. That's a safety. You get pressure and the quarterback tries to evade. He has to be careful because he can't step out of bounds. Um, you can play a bit more aggressive because I think quarterbacks don't want to hold the football in their hand too long when they're in the end zone. So you're talking about some quick and intermediate throws. I think you can play a bit more aggressive and look to jump those routes. So I love pushing teams. I'm always going to push you back against the end zone. So yeah, shout out to McDermott. I thought that staff today had an excellent game from every aspect,
Mm-hmm.
including special teams.
Yeah, and like I said, I completely understand your side of it too. I would have taken the loss of down rather than the 2.5, 3 yards that they got from it. But because it turns out they came back and on first down picked up what was it, like another 10 yards. So I don't know,
Mm.
maybe it's a different play call, maybe whatever. But that's hindsight. Again, we're not Sean McDermott, but I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Because we clearly have a little bit of a differing opinion, and that's okay. I mean it's, but moving on from this game, we have Miami coming into Buffalo next week. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you expect to happen based on what's happened all season, what happened today, and what do you feel is going to happen moving forward against the Dolphins next week, specifically on both offense and defense.
40 burger.
You think so?
40 burger. Yeah. Why not? It's the Dolphins. They stink. This division is over. Okay. The Buffalo Bills have won the AFC East for the fifth year in a row this year. They might as well print the t-shirts out now. Um I'm glad Tua is back. It didn't matter. They lost to the Cardinals. You know, they haven't beaten us in Buffalo in. I mean, it feels like what's it been like
Years,
two presidents?
years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been like two presidential terms since they beat us in Buffalo. I just
yeah.
can't see a situation where the Dolphins come in and scare us with all of the injuries that they have on that defensive line. How poorly their linebackers have played. I just don't. Their offensive line stinks. Um, yeah, too. I mean, we ate them alive in their own building. I just
Hmm.
don't see it, man. I just don't see where this is a game. This is gonna be. I think this is gonna be ugly. Josh is gonna have his ball cap on with 7 minutes to go in the fourth, and we're gonna rest guys and get ready for Indianapolis. Like this is a tune-up fight. This is Glass Joe. Like if you ever played Mike Tyson's Punch Out,
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
yeah. Miami's Glass Joe. Miami's Glass Joe.
Okay. Yeah. No, I feel the exact same way. I don't expect them to be maybe 40 points. I expect it to be right around like that 30 to 35 points, but I expect it to be kind of like it was today, where it's like 30, 34 to 3, 31 to 3, and they can just kind of take the foot off the gas in like the end of the third, fourth quarter, and just but also too, Josh apparently hates the Dolphins. So I mean, how can you hate your kid, right? Um,
Yeah. You know
um,
what, Matt? You know what, Matt? The reason why I say 40, and this is why I say that. Um, the Dolphins are 2-5. The Bills are 6-2, and they just lost to the Cardinals.
mhm,
I think the moment the Bills go up two scores, that team's gonna quit.
yeah.
And that's when the floodgates open. That's when
Mhm,
guys stop tackling. They start giving halfway efforts on tackles, and they're slow to fill their gaps. They're late, or they're late on their assignments. Yeah, like I just think they're gonna. I think they're gonna quit.
mhm.
I think they're gonna
Yeah,
quit.
I mean, you have a lot of guys over there. I mean, you see it all the time, in when they play the Bills. Like we saw it in week 2. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill. They're all sitting on the bench, just like not necessarily pouting, but are just like whatever. Like we're down by whatever again to the Bills, again to Josh Allen. So I'm in agreement with you that I do think it's going to be a very high scoring game on the Bills end of it. I do think it's going to be a very much of a blowout here in Buffalo. But again, you never know. I mean, it is football. It is a division game. You never know what's going to happen. But specifically, what do you want to see? And I know you'll get more into it on Wednesday and Coast to Coast, but what do you want to see happen as far as continuation of what happened today on offense, continuation of what happened on today on the defensive side of the ball?
Um, yeah, I just want to see. I want to see them continue to mix up to mix up their target share, mix up when they're taking their shots. I thought they did a good job of being aggressive. keep guys on their toes, man. You can't always come out and go run, pass, kick, run, pass, kick. Sometimes it's got to be pass, run, pass, run, pass. Like you got to mix it up, and I think they did an excellent job of that today. I want to see more of that. I want to see
Mhm.
Joe Brady attack each game like it's its own entity
Mhm.
versus this is what I want to do. I want to run the offense this way. No, I want to run the offense this way against this team. I'm gonna
Mhm.
run it this way against this other team because they're different. That's what I want to see. I
Right.
want to see a different plan for every week. I want to see a different mindset. Well, not necessarily a different mindset, but a different way of attacking each team every week with your play calling, with your play selection, and where you take your shots. Keep Josh engaged. We've got the weapons, and ultimately, listen, if we can stay healthy, man, the sky's the limit for this team,
Yeah.
man. The sky is the limit.
Yep, and from what we've seen, and I they were saying it on the broadcast today. The game could the division could be wrapped up by Thanksgiving. So I mean, at this point right now, I mean, I don't see anybody touching us in the division. I am of the mind that the Chiefs will probably be 9-0 when we play them in Week 11. So I mean, that's going to be a huge game. Gotta win the one in front of you. You gotta worry about the one in front of you. I know it's the Dolphins, but it is still a division game. So from my point of view, I am very, very much of the same of what you just said. As far as continuing to spread the ball around, continuing to run the offense against the team you have in front of you, rather than this is my offense. Let's implement it for this game. I want to see it, a plan for each game ahead, rather than like you said. So I'm very much of the same mind. On defense, I want to see the defensive line continue to win against these offensive lines. Because the offensive line that we have coming up after the Dolphins it used to be one of the better offensive lines in the NFL in the Colts, and then you have the Creed Humphrey led Chiefs offensive line. So they have to continue winning in the trenches on both sides of the ball, but specifically on defense, because the defense goes where the defensive line kind of goes, right? So your corners are going to have less time if the defensive line can't get there. But if they can get there and cause any of the quarterbacks to a Flacco or Richardson or Mahomes, if they cause them, more stress, more undue time, they're going to be able to, not have to worry about, covering as long, right? So those are the things that I want to see moving forward, is the defensive line kind of winning. And then, the linebackers get healthy between Bernard, eventually Milano, and seeing what we got, moving forward, because I think this team could literally be going into the Chiefs being 2 more wins, that they're 8-2, going into the Chiefs being 8-2, and win or lose that game, it's a bigger game, but the Chiefs, 49ers, and then after them they have the Lions. I think that they truly need to be 2-1 in those games, in any combination of those games. Whether they do it or not, that's to be seen. What's that?
2-1.
I'm
3-0.
saying
What are we talking about here? 3-0.
I'm
No.
not.
Listen. Why not? Why not?
I'm not.
We've
I'm.
got listen. We got the Chiefs in Buffalo. That
Mhm.
is a game we should win. The last time we played the Chiefs, we lost. You know what McDermott's record is when he gets the last. If you beat us,
Mhm.
the next time we play, the Bills usually take care of business under Sean McDermott and get that win. The last time we played the Chiefs, we beat them. History tells me the Bills will beat the Chiefs again in Buffalo in a couple of weeks. We play San Francisco after the bye.
Mhm.
We have not lost a game after a bye under Sean McDermott. Not one.
Correct.
And then we've got the Lions in Detroit. That's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the Lions still have to guard. They have to cover Khalil Shakir.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Brian Branch is playing well. He's doing his thing. He can't cover Shakir. He's not going to be able to cover Shakir.
Yeah.
And I think we did an excellent job against. I think we did an excellent job against the run with K9 and Carbonate. We and Charbonnet. I think we did a good job. Now, obviously, Detroit has a much better offensive line. Much better offensive line than they do, than the Seahawks do. So, that's going to be a test, but the quarterback is still Jared Goff.
Right.
So,
right. You get to him, you put pressure on him. It's, he doesn't have the movements of he doesn't have the movements of even like I feel like he's Joe Flacco back there, I mean, but to kind of wrap everything up here on this post-game show, because I know we got I know you probably want to get back to spaces. I know we got Sunday Night Football going on. To wrap this up, what are your last thoughts on the Seahawks game that happened today, and then also moving forward for the Dolphins and what you see? What are your last thoughts on the Dolphins before you get into it on Wednesday?
Final thoughts on the Seahawks game. Start to finish, this was an excellent game from every level from the Buffalo Bills. Coaching was excellent. Thought special teams did a very good job. Offense was unpredictable. They were aggressive. They were sound. They were stout. And defensively, I thought we did very, very well. This was a solid game from the linebackers, which was a worry for me, and it was a solid game from the safeties, which was also another worry for me. But ultimately, how y'all played today, how the Bills played today, play like this every week. Just play like this every week, and I'll be happy. Minus the interception from Josh and the stupid fumble because of the rain. But play like this every week, and I'm a happy camper, man. I'm a happy camper.
I mean, I'm excited to not have to worry about my heart, in the fourth quarter. So, so play like this every single week, and you'll save a lot of lives in Buffalo Bills land. But with that being said, I do want to thank.
We got a lot of help today too, Matt. We got a lot of help today.
They did. They did.
We got a lot of help today. The Jets lost, the Dolphins lost, the Ravens lost. Houston should have lost, but they still got to play the Chiefs. Houston and the Chiefs still have to play, so they're gonna have to deal with each other. The Steelers still have to play the Chiefs, so the Chiefs have some tough games aside from us. So yeah, we got some help today. We definitely did.
No, absolutely, and I watched that. I called it the most boring game I've probably ever watched in the Jets and Patriots game, because that's the local one that was on today. But I like just as seeing Aaron Rodgers implode on himself is just absolutely like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it every single week. Anytime I can flip that on and see him implode on himself, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I want to thank all of our sponsors. I want to thank you, Whittle, Iliad Apollo's, Sons of Erie, Beauty Pools, Kayak Pools, American Budico, Fat Boy Surf Club. I'm forgetting W.GG. So I want to thank all of our sponsors, Hamburg Brewing. I want to thank you specifically, Whittle, for hopping on the post game with me. We'll have to do it again very shortly, because I know we're going to have a few more wins, some losses, things like that. So definitely want to thank you, and definitely can't wait to see what you have to say on Wednesday. Any last thoughts?
No, man. Just get well, Aramis, and go Bills.
Absolutely. And again, this has been the Do Champions post game. We want to thank you for joining us. And again, Whittle, it's good to be seen.